Ooh, I like that.
Skinny
We
witches.
should start a workout class, skinny witches.
Down.
It's belly dancing.
Skinny witches.
Skinny witches.
So dumb. Okay, I'm excited for today's episode. I feel like I always preach about this, so
Okay, good. You can start.
I didn't even like prepare for this episode. I just always preach about it, so
Good. That'll help
We'll
me
just
because
see.
I feel like my brain is a little fried right now from life. So I feel like once you get going, it'll give me like
yeah, okay.
ideas.
Okay, cool. So do you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of She's Aligned. We're going to be talking about the importance of what you surround yourself with. That includes music, friends, what you watch. Obviously, everything has a huge impact on the way our life kind of, plays out, the decisions we make, etc. So I'm really excited for today's episode.
Me too. I also feel like those things, they just impact us on an energetic level and emotional level. So if you wake up every day and you don't feel excited about life or good, or like if you're just feeling heavy or negative, I think it's an opportunity to kind of take inventory on like, what have I been consuming? What have I been surrounding myself with? I think how we're feeling energetically is a direct reflection of what we're consuming.
That plays into how, if you remember, we grew up in a time where the news was always on the television.
Still, my parents still do that.
Oh,
Your parents don't?
no. The regular TV is hardly ever on at our house.
That's good.
If it is on, my mom is watching like miniature YouTube videos or like how to eat healthy on YouTube.
That's good.
But besides that, no, like the news is never on. My family kind of makes it a point not to watch the news.
Good.
But it just kind of reminds me of like how many people are so jaded and just like constantly wake up on the wrong side of bed. And a lot of people feel like that because, again, like the first thing that people put on is like the news, right? And what does the news do? The news gives you nothing but negative shit that's going on in the world, like,
And they find the worst of the worst.
Yes, this is a crime that happened. This is a new illness that's out. This is that. This is what our politicians are wanting to change, and blah, 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 blah. And everyone is just kind of like so mad and so jaded. And to me, I think that they do this for a reason. They do this because they know that the more they impact our energy, the more control they have over us. So I think being very mindful of like what you watch, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with, who are your friends, and who do you get advice from, because all of that will impact the decisions that you make. So I also kind of want to tap into music because music is a big one for me.
I know you have a lot of thoughts. I mean, I agree, obviously. One thought I'll say, because I know I love everything you say about music. One thing I noticed was like the energy of when you go to specific concerts. I think that's when I feel it the most, like what you're going to share. I think I experience it the most at concerts because you can, at least for me, I can feel the energy of the music and the energy of the crowd. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good, but I'll let you share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like when it comes to concerts, it's like the really famous like pop culture people that weird me out. Like where it feels like a cult following and like everyone is kind of like in a trance for a celebrity. To me, that rubs me so wrong and it freaks me out. Like when people go crazy for like Beyonce or like right now it's Taylor Swift, like her tour, which her tour has done great. It's done great for like the economy and she's given back so much. But to me, it's just I don't know, like to me it kind of freaks me out that celebrities could have such an energetic impact on people on that level. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I've gone to very like few concerts in my life. I've seen Deftones, I've seen Evanescence, and people might be like, oh well, that's like darker music, like you're kind of contradicting yourself. And I've seen Gaga as well, and a lot of people are like, oh, Gaga is like a part of like the Illuminati, and you shouldn't really see her because she has a lot of symbolism. I was in my really early 20s when I saw Gaga. But there's like a difference from like how it felt seeing Gaga versus seeing someone like Evanescence and Deftones. It wasn't like, to me, it wasn't like that extreme like manipulation, sort of, because I feel like pop culture music really tries to manipulate and just like manipulate the masses. And I think that that's a reason why we have that music like on the radio, you know.
Like, how do you see that play out? I'm curious of like an example of that.
Okay, so, well, you're talking about like the impact that it makes on people as a collective?
Like when you feel like it's like manipulating, like how do you see that play out?
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. How can I get into this? Okay. First and foremost, okay. Actually, let me do a personal example. Okay. When I was a teenager, I went through an emo phase. Guys. I went through an emo phase, and a lot of the music that I was listening to was very emo. And so because of the music that I listened to and the lyrics that were in the music, really impacted my energy. So I walked around as like a sad teenager. Someone whose life was terrible and in shambles. And as you and I have talked about like in episodes, like I grew up not lacking anything. I've always had a wonderful relationship with my mom and my family. And so I don't think I really had anything to be super like emo about, you know, but the music that I listened to talked a lot about like heartache and like wanting to unalive yourself, you know, things like that, and talked about like having like the worst life. And so personally, I was impacted by that as a teenager, and I think that that's what happens to our youth now with music. If you've kind of have seen the way music has progressed throughout the years, the things that people talk about in music, and then especially in today's day, they talk a lot about sex. They talk a lot about grape, if you know what I'm saying.
Wait.
Grape.
I was like, grape?
They talk a lot about drugs. They talk a lot about fame. They talk a lot about heartache. There's really like, if you would point out, I don't think there's any like mainstream music that you can point out to me where they're giving a positive message. Maybe just something like Lizzo where she's very like woman empowering. But besides that, there's really no music out there that really gives a positive message to the masses. And I think that music is like the one way that you can manipulate and really control people's minds and how the youth is going to grow up and be. And I think we're seeing that a lot with like the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha that's coming in. So, and then we also have to understand that in these messages are lyrics, right? And these lyrics are technically spells, because anything that you listen to is a spell. Anything that you say is a spell. And so when it's being repeated and that's what's in your ears, your subconscious picks that up and is constantly thinking about that, and that will impact you on an energetic level. So that's why I'm very like mindful about like the music that I listen to now. It's really, really rare if I ever listen to regular music, like the music that I used to listen to as a teenager. Like I also sometimes listen to like Deftones and Amy Lee from Evanescence, but that's really rare. Maybe it's like once a week if I'm home with my boyfriend and we're cleaning and we're bumping music. But like on my own time, I'll only listen to like frequency music, or I'll listen to like witch folk music. I'll listen to like classical piano music. Or I'll just listen to like self-help podcasts, because I know the power of what you listen to is so important and how that's going to impact you throughout your day. But I don't know if you have like any input with music, but if we really sit and listen to what's being played on the radio, and you really listen to the lyrics and you connect it with how the world is, you'll see that there's a direct correlation with the music and how the world kind of runs now and how people are controlled. So that's kind of like my take on music.
Yeah, I mean, what came to mind for me was how everything carries a vibrational frequency to it, and understanding that, like absolutely, like the lyrics, how you were saying, are spells, you know, because the way we manifest things is like affirmations and what we speak. And so being mindful of what you're speaking. But I think even just the energy behind these things, what was the energy of the artist when they were creating the music, and what's the energy behind the song, and what's the vibrational frequency of it that you're then receiving, embodying and transmuting yourself, you know? So I think it's important to really consider that. And I think you brought something up that, like, I've definitely seen, which is, you know, especially certain type of music is very degrading of women. And I think that has fed a lot into, like you were saying, like more of like the alpha mentality, or even women's behaviors of how they think they're supposed to act and what they think they're supposed to do. And becoming, I think, really sexualizing women, but in a way that's objectifying them. And that actually takes, I think, the power away of what a woman truly is in her essence. And I think it's something that I've become more aware of as I've been on my feminine journey, and how a lot of that stuff just really takes away the power. Yeah. I'm like, do I want, I'm just going to stop right there.
I think if you want to go on a tangent, you should.
Like, don't want to go there. I mean, I just personally, I think as I learn more about being feminine, I get very turned off personally by the over-sexualization of women. Whether it's like, and a lot of it is women doing it to themselves, but I think that the behavior is birthed from the music, which then feeds the men, which also feeds the women, which creates this cycle of like a woman being an object, or being a sexual object, and her behaving that way because that's what she thinks, and then using that to appeal to men, and then men feeding into that because they are visual beings. And I just get so turned off by that, or even the concept that like a woman has to look a certain way. It's like, it makes you be, I think, everything that you're not. Everything you're not meant to be. And I think that takes our power away.
Yeah. And which is why you see a lot of young women, not even women, girls, teenagers. If you look at 13-year-olds today, they look nothing like what you and I looked like when we were 13.
No, not at all.
And that has everything to do with what they're watching and what they're listening to, because everything is even more accessible now than what it was in our time. So now not only do they have that in their ears the way we did, but now they can see that online so easily. I mean, also, I didn't have a phone until I was like, I think like 16 or 17. And now the children today are growing up with iPhones in their hands, with accessible social media, and just what they're being surrounded with and what they're watching, listening to. You have these girls that are wanting to grow up and over-sexualize themselves, and again, it's because of what they're watching and what they're hearing.
And that just really gets me going, especially because some of these girls are very young. Like, it's such a turnoff for me when if you look at a guy's followers and they're older, let's say they're in their late 20s and their 30s, and they're following like 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds.
Walking like
red flag.
I don't even want to say red flag. What's worse than red?
Like fire, like flag on fire.
Like, you run away from that fast.
Yes. Yeah. Because that, to me, like, one, it's sad that women or girls think that's how they're meant to behave, and that grown men are feeding that. You know, but it does go back to what we're consuming and what we're seeing. Because like I just remember that growing up, we never had cable. To this day, I've never had cable TV in my life. which shocks some people. But I'm glad because I never watched MTV. Like, I never watched anything like that. So I remember I would go to people's houses and they would have MTV on. So I never really grew up with music videos. And so I would see, and even to this day, sometimes I'll see music videos and they still kind of shock me because I'm just like, and I remember especially in high school, like going to people's houses and they had, you know, music videos and I was just like, oh my gosh,
but
like,
not,
what
like,
is this?
But then also, like, I see music videos that were out during the time when we were teenagers, and that was the music we listened to. Like, remember, like, the 2000s hip-hop R&B, and then you had, like, Ashanti and Sierra and who knows who else with their, like, low-waisted jeans with their thongs sticking out and, like, twerking and doing God who knows what. That was the music we were listening to in 6th grade, you know, and
singing to.
And singing to it. Remember? We used to do school dances in the cafeteria, and they were like, to the sweat drop down my balls, all these bitches crawl. And we were grinding. We were singing this and grinding on each other.
It's like, remember? Do we even know what it means?
Exactly. So now, if we were impacted by that, imagine that on steroids now. And that's kind of like, I think that's why our society is so messed up. It is so messed up. You have people that have no values, no morals, no sense of self, no self-identity. And because of that, they're releasing their power, you know, and we're easily manipulated. And yeah, I think that's why it's, I don't know, like when I have children, I'm like,
I'm like, how am I gonna feel? I'm gonna be like such a mom that's like, don't look at anything.
Yeah, because man, it's yeah.
And online, like,
and then yeah.
We're like stressed out about our kids we don't have.
That's why I think long and hard about having kids, because it's like, shit, like today's world is like, oh my goodness.
But at the same time, I think on the bright side, we have so much accessible to us. Like, the same way that you have so much shit accessible to you, you have so much good stuff accessible to you. Like, you can literally today consume so much positive content. Like, you can learn so much about manifesting and about being a soul self and about being intuitive. Like, it's all available at your fingertips. So with that, I think it's having the realization that we are now adults and we get to decide what we consume. And if you are choosing to consume negative things on a daily basis or things that have a low vibrational frequency, and then you wonder why you walk around feeling like shit, that's why, like, you need to change the channel, like, listen to something else, because it is impacting your energy. And especially if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to assume that you're somebody who's more intuitive or more aware of your energy. So make smart choices, because we feel things even more so because we're intuitive. It affects us even more because we're intuitive. So you need to really have a filtering process around who you allow into your energy and into your space.
Yeah, I think that's why you and I get so impatient with people, because the same way, like you said, that we have accessibility to bad stuff, we also have accessibility to good stuff, things that are going to help us, stimulate us to grow. And because sometimes, you know, like, random people want to give me advice. You just tell me, like, have patience, like, they're your aunt, uncle, they're your parents, they don't know any better. I'm like, but there's accessibility now, you know, like, people, it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, you have the internet now, you have the resources to grow, and there is no excuse for you to stay in a low vibrational frequency. There just isn't. But I do think that in order to get to that positive side of, like, the internet, I'm not even going to say the television, because there's nothing good on the television, to get on the positive side of the internet or music or podcast, you have to have some level of, like, awareness. You know, because not just anybody is going to look for that stuff. But okay, so I want to talk about, do you have something to say?
Just like a quick little thought.
Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're not sure how something is impacting you, what I would encourage you to do is right after you listen to it or right after you watch it, just pause for a moment and tune in and ask yourself, how do I feel? Like, notice how you feel directly after you listen to something or directly after you watch something or even directly after you're with somebody. And ask yourself, how do I feel?
That's
you know, after engaging with that person, place, thing, how do I feel? And if you feel good, then okay, that thing is good for you. If you don't feel good, that thing is not good for you, and that is your sign that you need to cut it off. I think it's that simple.
Yeah. Now because you said, let's pay attention to how you feel around certain people. Now let's get into friends.
Oh,
okay, because
we have no friends.
It's funny. It's so funny. Like, her and I went into like hermit mode with friends. It was like we were like, here, like these are her friends and these are my friends, and then it went.
I know, literally, huh? Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're so right.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube so you can watch the visual of that.
Oh yeah, sorry guys. You are who you surround yourself with. Okay.
So we surround ourselves with no one.
Just each other. Oh my god, guys. Okay, so really quick. So, oh my god. Okay, so Natalia helped me with Magic Market this past Saturday. We can't even tell you how many people went up to us.
Oh my gosh.
And asked us if we were sister or twins, or were even mistaking her for me. Yeah. And both her and I were like,
we don't even look alike.
Yeah, we don't look alike. Like, what is up with that, right? Because people are, and then, so we went to the gym on Monday, and then Natalia went to go see my new place. And then as she was driving off, my back neighbor was like, is she your sister or your twin? And I was like, huh? It's like, yeah, is she your sister or your twin? I was like, neither. She's my friend. And then he was like,
been like, she's my brother.
Imagine. And then he was like, no, he goes, he's like, you guys have like the same face shape. And I was like, we do not have the same face. We don't have any features that look alike. So it's like, and so I was telling Natalia, and I was telling my mom and my boyfriend, I'm like, I think what it is our energy. I think we probably carry ourselves like similar or in the same way. And, because I don't see how people are confusing us and mixing us up or think that we're twins. But if you would have told 10-year-old Natalia and Natalie that, we would have been in heaven.
Oh yeah, we'd be like, yes, that's what we wanted.
Because we used to dress alike on purpose.
We manifested it. Like, literally, her vendors were coming up to me, and I think they thought I was being rude because they were like, they thought I was Natalie, and I'm just like, oh, nice to meet you. And they're just like looking at me like I should know who they are, and I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah, so I've just taken it as we carry ourselves the same way energetically, and I think that that's what people pick up on.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to throw that in there because I fully believe that you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you constantly are surrounding yourself with negative people who are always complaining, have no aspirations in life, have no goals, are constantly partying, constantly talking shit about other people, what do you think your life is going to be like? What do you think is going to unintentionally manifest in your life? Also, when you're around those sort of people, like, just think of like that energy that you're releasing and the energy that you are taking in from that person. It's going to manifest into your life one way or another. Also, there's a study and a saying, but a study that says, give me 5 of your closest friends and their income, and I multiply it and find the medium number, and it's basically around like how much money you make as a person.
How much do you make?
You're like, what?
I'm gonna start asking everyone around me. Tell me your income.
So when someone told me that, I was like, the other people in my life don't make good money. Does that mean I don't make good money? And at the time, I wasn't. At the time, I wasn't. So know that who you surround yourself with is going to manifest in your life the same exact way music is going to manifest into your life.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to want to make excuses for people and to continue relationships with people because you've known them for a long time, or they've helped you through a dark, like era in your life. But it's okay to outgrow people.
That's so funny because I just wrote that down.
It's okay to outgrow people?
Yeah.
What do you want to say on that?
No, I was just going to say, I was going to bring it up, so I'm glad you brought it up. Like, you will outgrow people sometimes, and that's okay. That's because I know one of the fears I had recently was like, shit, like, if I keep healing, I'm going to keep outgrowing people. And that scares me because I know now what that means is sometimes being alone. But I've learned to be okay with that. Like, and it's hard. It is hard to have weekends where you're not going anywhere because the options are go out with the people I know that I'm not aligned with anymore, or go out by myself, or stay home and be alone. Like, I feel like that's kind of the season I'm in right now. And it's hard, but I just keep reminding myself, like, it's better than, like, do I really want to go and hang out with that person that always has drama and they're always complaining and they're not doing anything about it? Like, do I want to be around that energy? Or am I better, like, in my own space at peace in my own energy where someone is not bringing me down?
Correct. Correct. And then also, naturally, as intuitives, people like that will drain your energy.
And they want to attach to you.
Exactly.
Because they see your light.
They will attach to you like leeches.
Yeah.
Like ticks.
Yep.
You want to be careful because they're going to suck your blood, and that's your energy. Don't do that.
No. Yeah, don't be around low vibe. And if you're the low vibrational person, cut that shit out.
Oh my God. I feel like that's easier said than done, but
change what you're listening to.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, like, what advice could we give to someone that is probably listening and is like, damn, I'm that low vibrational friend.
Well, one, you might not even know you are. So step one, awareness.
That's the first big step. Because
you might not even realize, like, because I think we've all been there. I know I've been there. I know in the past I caught myself one time where I was like, damn, like, this was, years ago, where I caught myself going to I'm like, the YMCA, that was like so freaking long ago. I would go to the gym and I would gossip with this girl, and I remember catching myself, but the way that I caught myself was that it was almost like seeing her do it made me realize how ugly it was.
Yeah.
And so having it mirrored back to me, I was like, damn, I was like, we're over here just like gossiping about people, like, that felt so ugly to me. So I what I would say is, like, something that people don't practice that I think will help you see is, like, self-awareness. I want you to move through your day observing yourself. Like, notice how you're behaving, how you're interacting, how you're reacting, and pause and reflect and ask yourself, is that who I want to be? Yeah. Is that how I want to show up? Did I just add to this person, or did I take away from this person? Did I just add to this space, or did I take away from this space? Did me entering this environment, did I bring light to this environment, or did I bring darkness into this environment? Because if you stop and look at yourself, you will become self-aware, and that is the first step to changing anything.
Yeah, and I would also like to add that people are a mirror of you, as we've said many times. So if you have a lot of friends that are low vibrational, take a look and self-internally, because you're probably a part of that problem too. But the first step is the awareness part. Yeah. And that's the biggest step. I like to think of it as like a baby that's learning how to walk. What's like the one thing that people celebrate, the first step? And I think, to me, that first step is a self-awareness, because once the self-awareness comes in, everything will follow. And it's not that it's going to be easy, but it will be easier.
But you can't change something you don't know exists, So now I'm in the habit of, whenever anything happens, the first thing that I do is I stop and I look at myself. Like, let's say there's conflict or a misunderstanding, or something doesn't go the way that I thought it would, I always stop, and instead of, because what we naturally want to do is point the finger at everyone else. Well, so-and-so did this to me. Well, so-and-so said this to me. Well, it's because if you're always pointing externally, like first look at yourself. So I always pause and I look at myself and I say, okay, how did I react? What did I do? And I observe myself in order to see like, okay, was that the right reaction? Was that the right way to show up? If it was, okay, then I'm good. I did what I needed to do and I can have peace in that. If it wasn't, then okay, do I need to go apologize to somebody? Do I need to fix this? What do I need to do? So make that a habit of yours, to observe yourself, to look at yourself first before you look at everybody else.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's so huge. Because I know a few people that go about their life just complaining all day, every day.
And it's everyone else's fault.
Everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Everyone else's fault but their own fault.
Except theirs.
Without realizing that when you're pointing, you have 3 fingers pointing back at you. You know, and yeah, the self-awareness is totally, it's key. It's being aware of everything.
I remember having friends like way in the past, so no, I'm not talking about you if you're listening to this, like way in the past where like I felt like they were always in a cycle of like something bad was always happening to them, and I would just kind of step back and wonder like, why is their life always going wrong? Always, there's always something negative happening to them, and it just would feel like this cycle of years and years and years and years and years. And I realized, like, now looking back, I'm like, they were attracting that.
Yeah.
Because they were in victim energy. They were in victim mode. So, and it wasn't even things that they were, like, causing. It was like they were just attracting shit to happen to them all the time. And now looking back, I'm like, they were in victim energy. So when you're in victim energy, what are you going to attract?
Yeah,
for sure. You know, things that make you a victim. And so, and now I'll notice it right away in people, and I'm just like, oh, that person's in victim mode. So I just don't even bother, you know?
Like the big one that you said, like, oh, like, what did you just say? Like you said that they're always blaming everyone else but themselves and everything else.
Yeah, I think when you realize, like, I keep thinking of the TikTok being like, am I the drama? You know, it's like, yes, you are.
Yeah. It's kind of reminding me of like when you wake up on the wrong side of bed and just one thing after another just keeps going bad. I think I kind of mentioned this in the last episode that we didn't publish, but like if we think about things on an energetic level and how sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of bed and everything for some reason that morning just keeps going to shit. Right? Think about it. Energetically, you wake up. You're pissed that you got to go to work, right? And you wake up late. So you're like, damn, F this. Like, I'm pissed. I can't believe I have to go to work, blah, 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 blah. You get up. You take a shower. You're getting ready for bed. You make your coffee. You can't find your keys. And then you're like, where the hell are my keys? But the entire morning you're complaining. So now your keys are missing. So not only did you wake up late, now you can't find your keys. You finally find your keys. You're walking to your car with your coffee. And then suddenly you spill your coffee all over you. And then you get into your car and you're like, damn, like I already know this LA traffic is going to be shit. This LA traffic is going to be blah, 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 blah. And then you just start getting all of the red lights, and then you get onto the freeway and it's massive traffic, and it's just like the shittiest morning that you can think of. What people don't realize is that like the things that you're saying and the things that you're thinking, so not only is this about like what you surround yourself with, but also like what you're saying and what you're thinking and where your energy is, you're gonna keep manifesting that. And what really changed for me, that's how I started kind of like manipulating my reality, is when I started my self-awareness sort of journey. And I started with the exercise of the mornings and making sure that I woke up on the right side of bed, in quotations, and I didn't allow myself to get into a negative sort of state. And even then, like when I'm driving on the freeway now, and even when I started this journey, I just affirm to the universe, thank you, universe, you know, for allowing me to get to my destination on time and with ease and safely. So I never, not once, traffic was never in like my vocabulary. Whenever I was looking for parking, I would never say like, oh my God, there's no parking. There's no that. Oh my God, this parking is shit. If the parking lot is always full, I always said like, thank you so much for allowing me a space closest to my destination so that I can blah, 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 blah. So all of those things I switched them, and I think people don't realize that the things that we're saying and how we're carrying ourselves energetically, it really does manifest into your life. And you can switch that reality once you switch your energy and the way you think and the way you say things, because once I got into that state and I started implementing that, my whole world changed.
Yeah.
And I still do that. I do this every single day. I don't ever allow myself to get into like a negative like thought. And if I really feel like I need to sit in some negative emotion, or I'm feeling emotional, I'll allow myself for like 5 minutes. And then I'll be like, okay, Nat, sit here, think about it, calm down. Now let's switch it, because I know that if I continue in like that lump of like bad energy, that's going to be the energy of the rest of my day.
Yeah.
And I refuse that. That. Like anytime I'm in a like bad energy, like I'm just like mad. I have to instantly change it. But little things like that manipulate your reality, and you change it, and then you'll see that the universe starts to move the puzzle pieces in your favor. Like you'll suddenly see that there's less traffic on the freeway. You'll see that you actually find parking. When people constantly affirm like an illness or a sickness, I'm like, you are literally casting that spell on yourself. You're reaffirming to that to the universe that you have this specific illness. Why don't you just start claiming and declaring that you are healthy, you are healed, your body is full of minerals and nutrients, and it's healing itself. But yeah, it's just really changing like your reality, changing what you surround yourself with, how you're thinking, your energy, what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that was a huge one for me. Like, and I think the getting up on the wrong side of bed, I always love to use that example because everyone relates to that. Everyone has gone through that. And it's so easy to blame the universe and everyone else except yourself, because had you gone up when your alarm clock went off, you would be on time. Had you put your keys where they belong always, you would find your keys. Had you not been in a rush, rushing to your car, you wouldn't have spilled your coffee. And had you been on time and been in a good energy that morning, the traffic wouldn't get to you because you would have allowed for the time of traffic in your schedule. But now all of a sudden it's everyone else's fault because you woke up on the wrong side of bed. And it's like, take a look at yourself first. But just kind of wanted to throw that in there.
The way we're synced is so funny, because I literally just wrote down, talk about rituals, and then you started talking about I'm like, I love that. We're on the same page. Yeah, because I love the way you said it. It's like manipulating your reality. I feel like that's such a powerful way to say it. The way I see it is like creating little rituals throughout my day, of like the way I start my day really impacts how I feel and how I set myself up. And that is,
I wish more people realize that.
The power of it. Because for me, it's like, the moment I wake up, what am I surrounding myself with? So for me, it's like having that morning routine of, okay, do a meditation, do some journaling, eat something, have some coffee, sit with yourself. Like the power of like sitting and taking care of me first, and that ritual, it's like instantly, and I'll like incense. So when I think about it, okay, what is my morning surrounded with? Incense, meditation, journaling, a positive podcast. How is that not gonna set me up for a good day? Even if I wake up not feeling my best, it's like as soon as I do that, I feel better because I surrounded myself with the things that were going to elevate my energy. Same thing with bedtime, or even how Nat was saying, like when you're going to go somewhere, to me, those are little rituals. It's like she has her ritual of her prayer. I see it as like a little prayer she does, and then she, goes wherever she's going, of like the parking and the traffic. Those are little rituals that you can weave into your day in order to elevate your energy. The problem is that a lot of people walk around feeling like shit, and then they want to drag their reality down to their level instead of saying, okay, my energy is here right now. What can I do to elevate my energy? What can I do to expand myself? Because you're thinking that you're limited to, well, this is how I feel, so this is what life has to be. And it's like, no, you have control. You have the power to change the way you're feeling at any moment. But a lot of you are letting your emotions run the show, and you're on this freaking roller coaster of a life instead of realizing, like, take back the power, get back in the driver's seat, get under control, and like get your emotions under control and elevate your energy.
This is gonna be a reel.
So I thought I had nothing to say about this. I'm just kidding. I always have something to say. Oh my God.
So powerful. I loved that.
Manipulate your reality.
And you know
I
what?
like that.
And you know,
I'm writing that.
And
that's going to be a post.
And you know what makes, like, okay, it gets so fun for me. Like when I'm manipulating my reality, because it's like a game that I'm playing with the universe.
Yes. It's almost like you go from like, oh wait, I can get out of victim mode, into like, oh my gosh, this is fun.
Yeah. And then sometimes like I'll play the game of like, all right, universe, like how close are you going to give me a spot to the coffee shop? Because I don't really want to walk, you know? And
yeah,
like I would say like 80-90% of the time I'm successful. And sometimes it will require a little bit of patience, you know, but sometimes it'll happen faster, but it becomes like such a game to me. Like I freaking love it. And sometimes my boyfriend looks at me like I'm freaking weird. And I could also tell that he gets uncomfortable because he tends to complain a lot about traffic. And I'm always in the car. I'm like, can you please stop claiming that? I'm like, please stop claiming that. Don't say the word traffic. Because what does traffic mean? Congestion. So the universe is listening to that. Yeah. So we have to be careful with the words that we use, because we may think like, oh, no traffic. In our mind, we may think no traffic means no traffic. But when you say no traffic, the key word is traffic. So that's what the universe is hearing. So you have to change your wording a little bit. But you know, like I tell my boyfriend, I'm like, please stop saying that. I said, because you're claiming the traffic and it's going to make us get there even later. Please. We need to change that reality right now. You know, we're flowing with ease and we're going to get there safely and as fast as possible. And he just looks at me like he gets annoyed. I'm like, but please, I can't sit there and declare like negativity or like the opposite of what I'm trying to manifest. But it gets so much fun. It gets so much fun. And I love to implement that in little ways, like everywhere. Yeah. It's like little games that I play with the universe. And sometimes I'll ask for signs and then feathers will literally fall out of nowhere in front of me. And it's just like a beautiful experience. But, manipulate your reality. So I think something that a lot of people are not very conscious about is like a lot of people wake up and the first thing they do, they scroll on their phone.
And how does that make you feel? Because when I do it, I do not feel good.
No. Well, we also have to think. Right now, what's really popular is short form content. So that is constantly stimulating our brain. And not in the best way possible. It's stimulating our brain in the sense where our brain constantly feels like it needs to be stimulated, so that when it's not, we feel like there's something missing, which is why we don't really see a lot of people that can stay still anymore. We don't see a lot of people that can be with themselves. They constantly need to be around people, watching doing something. And so people that I've noticed that people that the first thing they do when they scroll on their phone in the morning, not only are they being manipulated and brainwashed by whatever is on social media, but also like attention span wise, you drain all of that. You know, you drain your focus, you drain your energy. And I've also noticed like on the random mornings that I do randomly scroll and I have to stop myself because it gets very addicting. My eyes will become heavy and tired. My body feels heavy. And then I feel like I can't do anything for the rest of the day. But that's because our brain is so overstimulated.
Yeah.
So by the time you really need to focus on other things, your brain doesn't have the capacity to do so. You know, so I think it's very important to keep in mind that we need to be very careful with how much time we spend on our phone, not let that be the first thing that we do when we hop out of bed.
Yeah.
And then also, what are you watching on the internet? You know, like sometimes like my brothers will want to show me a video of like these guys like beating each other up, or like the shooting that happened. And I'm like, don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Second, don't even think about showing me that, you know? And then so there are a lot of people that's all they watch, because that's what the internet is throwing at them. So vibrationally and energetically, what do we think that that's doing to the society as a whole, you know? Yeah, but that's basically what I wanted to say on that.
Like, curate your algorithm, curate your feed. And the other thing that I'll say too is like, have discernment around what's good for you and what's not good for you. Because I think there's general things that we can be like, oh, that's not good for anybody. But there's also a level of awareness of self, of what for you, right? So for example, like, I can't watch scary movies.
Same.
They set me off,
Same.
you know, but I do like no scary anything, nothing. Don't invite me to Not Scary Farm. Don't invite me to none of that. I don't like it.
Oh, I actually love horror nights.
Yeah. And see, but that's what I was going to say. That's why I'm saying use discernment, right? Because for you, you're fine. You can do that. I can't do that. So just because something might bug someone else, it might not bug you, right? So there is a level of getting to know yourself and what's good for you, what's not good for you. So trust that, you know, trust what your body is telling you, what your mind is telling you. I also think what we surround ourselves with right before bed is key, because our sleep is very important. What you think or watch right before you fall asleep is really important, because we're in that theta state where your subconscious mind is functioning. So something I actually did last night that I want to keep practicing was like, I just kind of did this like little prayer to my guides where I was like, you know, help me continue doing my healing work. And so I did this like meditation where I started doing this healing for myself, and then like fell asleep and just trusted like subconsciously the work continues, you know? So be mindful of like, just know that your mornings, I think mornings and evenings are so sacred.
Very.
And what you surround yourself with, especially at those moments, is very important. So just become aware of that and ask yourself, like if you don't sleep well, you know, or you struggle to sleep, maybe you need a ritual and surrounding yourself with good things before bedtime, because I notice it impacts my dreams. It impacts how I sleep, how I wake up the next day, how I feel. So just know it's almost like you're setting yourself up at bedtime and then also the way you wake up.
Yeah, same. That's why I can't do scary movies in the night. Even in the daytime, it's really like, I don't think I've watched a scary movie with Dan. Actually, no, we did watch Chainsaw Massacre, is that what it's called? When I had COVID. And he was so like dead set on watching it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was about like 7 p.m. And I remember sitting on the edge of my bed just shivering because of like the anxiety that I was feeling watching it. And I told him, I'm like, this is why I can't do this, because I already know that on an energetic level, it's going to impact me, especially when I'm sleeping. And that really happened for me when I went through my spiritual awakening. Because before I was kind of able to watch scary movies, but it wasn't until my awakening that I became very, very sensitive to that. When it comes to horror nights, I love horror nights. I could do horror nights, but because like there's no story behind it, so it's not like there's no like that stress, like anticipation sort of thing. It's like I know all of that is fake. I know all of the people walking around have like masks on, so like energetically, like there's no like actual like something going on energetically. But like with like a scary movie, forget it. Like there is no way in hell. Don't even come to me. But you know, and there are a lot of people that love to watch horror movies, that love to watch like murder stuff, watch like murder documentaries, and I don't understand it.
Ooh, okay.
I don't understand
that
it.
That reminds me, because I used to love true crime. Love true crime. Like I would watch it. I knew all the, the very well-known cases.
Girl, I could not. I've never been
Not
able
anymore.
to do that.
But that's what I was gonna say. Like I used to love it, and as soon as I started training and intuitive work, that stopped right there. Because I was like, I do not need to feel the presence of the person that just got murdered, and that what I'm watching is right here. I was like, because I was learning to tap into the spiritual, and I remember one time I was like, okay, well, I like this stuff, and I tried watching it, and I could feel the presence of the person from the show, whatever I was watching, and I was like, nope, we don't need that kind of energy here. So I was like, never again. Like, and I used to love that. I used to love scary movies. I used to love all that stuff. And the last time I tried to watch a scary movie, I literally got up and left the room. Yeah. Because I was so anxious. Because I'm like, a lot of that stuff, especially now, is real. Like they're using spirituality in it.
Yeah, it's always made me very anxious, like war movies.
I can't do violence either.
Anytime my family would watch that, I, like you said, get up. I would need to get out of the house. I couldn't even like hear it in the background. And this was even before my awakening.
Past life in a war, I would guess.
Ew, don't tell me that. Because as a kid, I used to dream a lot about war.
Oh, yeah.
And the big planes, like the big black planes.
Okay, so you have a past life.
Don't tell me that. Shut up.
No, but I can't, even like UFC and stuff like that, I can't watch that.
No. There was a point I was going to make. Damn it, I lost it. Did you say sorry? And there was a point that I was going to make. Oh, I was going to ask, could you watch like
What?
I don't know. I lost it. I'm telling you, I lost it.
Like how you still tried. Like, let me try anyway.
Carry on.
That's funny. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't really think I have anything else. But if you're curious to know how things affect you energetically, I would recommend looking into studies of sound frequency, and then also like the studies on water that they've done with how well like water holds memory, and the things that you're in, like not even just like the things that you declare on yourself, but the things that people tell you. Who you surround yourself with, again, like the music that you're listening to, because there have been studies on like sound frequency and how specific sort of like words and frequencies in music will kind of create like this beautiful like pattern. And then when the frequency is bad, it creates like this distorted pattern. Same thing with water. When there's good frequency, sound frequency, or positive affirmations with water, it creates like this beautiful like snowflake crystallized like looking thing. And then when you speak negatively towards the water, it has like this ugly like distorted like frozen thing. And you can find these studies all over. Go on TikTok, go on YouTube, and you can find them. And that's why I think it's like so important to be very mindful about like what you surround yourself with, because we are energetic beings and we're made up mainly of water. So if the water, if water holds memory and sound is able to manipulate water and our energy, like I just don't understand how people don't think that how it cannot impact us when we're like majority water, you know what I mean? So look that up, do some studying, and it'll kind of blow your mind. So that's more on like the scientific level. If you're really not into like the woo-woo, then look at it from a scientific perspective, and science backs this up. So that's what's like really beautiful about this, is that not only can we talk about this on a spiritual level, but on a scientific level as well. But yeah. Anything else you want to say? We're almost at an hour already.
The last two thoughts I had was, one, like curate your algorithm. You know, we have the ability to curate our feed, curate what we see, engage only with the type of content that is helpful for you, not hurtful. I know that, you know, media likes to put crazy things in our face, especially crazy catastrophic things in our face. So just be very mindful of what you engage with so that you can curate your feed, unfollow things you need to unfollow. And also something we didn't touch on, but I want to just mention is like, also be mindful of the energy like that you surround yourself with as far as spaces go. Because you'll feel it with, you know, what you see, what you hear, the people, but also the spaces you're in. Listen to your intuition. If you enter a room, if you enter an area, if you enter any sort of space and the energy feels off, that is a part of what you surround yourself with. So don't keep going back there, or if you're able to leave, leave. But just trust your intuition on what you're surrounding yourself with in every single way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trusting your intuition is good, and leaving when you need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if someone is like, oh, how do I know it's my mind or my intuition? What advice would you give to them?
I would say if it's a knowing, like you just know like something is off, but then you catch yourself trying to logically explain it.
That's
the first one was your intuition. You know, but our mind always tries to like say something, you know, well, it doesn't make sense, everything looks fine. Like, no, just trust the knowing. You don't need to stick around and find out why it felt off,
because more than not later you're like, damn, I should have just listened to myself.
Exactly. Yeah. So listen to yourself. Like, if you catch yourself trying to explain it away because it doesn't make sense, that's your intuition.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts for you? Okay. Well, be mindful of what you surround yourself with, you guys, because it really does affect your energy. It affects how you show up in life and how you make decisions in life, and ultimately how your life is going to go because of that. So be mindful, surround yourself with positive things as much as possible. Yeah. Take care of the way I see it is like energetic hygiene. That's what it is. You know, you wouldn't throw mud on yourself, so why would you like muddy your energy with what you engage with?
Yeah. I would do an audit of like my social media. I would do an audit of like my music, my friends, myself.
I like that. That's your guys' homework. Do an audit. An audit of everything that's you're currently surrounded by, and ask yourself what needs to go and what gets to stay, and like do that.
And if you're like, oh, my music is kind of crap, I would encourage for you to start listening to podcasts, like self-help, self-improvement podcasts, and that'll just kind of create like a ripple effect. And honestly, start doing that like on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, because the more you search that, the more the algorithm is going to throw that at you. Yeah. So with your social medias, start researching that so that the algorithm can start knowing like what to throw at you now. But yeah, do an audit on yourself and start changing that for you, and make sure that what you're surrounding yourself with is as best as possible. And it's not to say that you can't ever just be human and listen to the music you like to listen to, but be very mindful of when you're doing that, you know,
what you're listening to.
And it does, exactly. It doesn't have to be all the time that you're listening to music. I know, and so really quick, I don't understand how some people can have music on 24/7.
Oh my God.
Because to me, it's like, can you not sit with yourself for a minute?
In silence, yeah.
Like,
or people that start their day blasting music. I'm like,
my neighbors.
But yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
You'll start to feel it the more aware you become. Like, I feel like I hardly listen to music now.
Same.
And it's mostly because I'll try to put music on and I can just feel it.
Oh my God, yes.
And I'm like, yes. So I'm like, this doesn't feel good.
Yes.
So I'll switch to a podcast and I'm like, oh.
And then I'll even look through like my playlist that I have on Spotify. Nothing feels right.
Same.
Nothing feels right. Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, damn, do I just not know anything? But
and
it's like, no, it's my
music.
It's my soul.
Yeah.
It's my soul for sure, just telling me, nah, you gotta chill out a bit.
It just feels so low vibration to me. Like, I'll put music on and I'm just like, oh, this doesn't feel good, and I switch it to a podcast. And if you guys need podcast recommendations, maybe on Instagram we can post some of our favorite podcasts that we listen to, so that way if you're trying to figure out what to listen to, obviously ours, but so your homework is to go do your audit, see what you're surrounding yourself with and cut out what doesn't feel good, and just watch how that's going to completely transform things for you. But thanks again for tuning in. We hope that this episode helped you, and we cannot wait to see you in the next one.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.